Hey, welcome to Echoes of Impact with Noura. This is your host, Noura Almasri. Welcome to the show. Today, I want to cover a very important topic, at least to me, and I know it's very important to a lot of you guys out there, education. Education is actually one of my core value at my company, Noura's Books. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I have a tax and accounting firm where I also do coaching for nonprofits and business owners. It's called Noura's Books. Of course, I have my core values there. One of very important core value is education. And when I say education, I don't mean going to school, like grade school and then the college. Although that is important, but what I want to focus on here is actually getting yourself educated, whatever you want to do, like get the education first. So if you were to start a new venture, make sure you get the necessary education. I'm not saying you have to be completely 100% ready and know everything, because this is impossible. What I'm saying, prepare yourself, learn and get what you actually should be expecting. What could you face? Be ready as much as possible. Consult with others, read book, get coaching, because it can save you a lot of time and heartbreak. And I want to cover something really dear to my heart. You know, I work with nonprofits, and earlier, actually, this year, January 2024, I published my book, How to Start, Manage, and Prosper with a Nonprofit. And it is available on Amazon. Go on Amazon and get the book. It's very easy read. And when I want you to get this book, and why? Because if you want to start a nonprofit, or if you are already there, that book will help you decide, are you a good fit for managing a nonprofit? Or maybe you want to hire people to manage the nonprofit with you or instead of you, and be on the board seat, just watching, just making sure everything is going well. Are you ready to take that responsibility or not? On the book, I actually walk you over reasons for why nonprofits usually fail, a lot of misconceptions about nonprofits. So I explain and break down those misconceptions for you, so you are aware of what's misconceptions, because often people go ask other people who are running nonprofits, but those nonprofits are not successful. So when you ask them, you end up having the same result, which is unsuccessful nonprofit. So because those misconceptions like deemed to be a fact, and I tell you what's the misconception, and then I take you over a journey with few questions, asking you a lot of questions, explaining everything, so you can determine for yourself if you are a good fit to run a nonprofit. Should you start a nonprofit? Or if you already started, should you stay on the driver's seat, or should you give that driver's seat for someone else to protect yourself and to make sure your organization is growing and going into the right direction? So go grab the book. Again, it's How to Start, Manage, and Prosper with the Nonprofit. It's available on Amazon in both paperback and electronic copy. So you can just go now and get it. Give it a gift for someone who's thinking of nonprofit, or maybe actually is already in nonprofit, to make sure they are staying in compliance and they are doing the thing they are supposed to do. I also shared a story that happened with me a little bit less than 20 years ago, in the first few chapters. So you get a sneak peek of my life a little bit. So go read the book, and when you read it, make sure it stays close to you if you are in nonprofit world, to make sure you actually refer to it when you need it. And also let me know, like go ahead and write the review or connect with me to let me know what you think and what should I actually write next, to make sure I get the benefit that you want to get and get you the information that must get to you as a nonprofit leader. Now, another thing for you guys in nonprofit, I have I have next month on May 17 at 7 p.m. Central. I have a free master class. It's going to be live. You can be with me on that master class on Zoom, wherever you are. I will be talking about how to get an extra $10,000 for your nonprofits. It will be live. You can ask me questions and I'll go over my impact method. And this is updated. I had similar things before, but this is updated and I am sharing a lot of secrets on that masterclass. Again, it's May 17 at 7 p.m. Central. So make sure you go ahead and register. I can't wait to see you. With that, I can't wait to actually for you guys to see my guests for today. I have 3 amazing guests, authors and business owners who also are providing master classes so you can learn. All of these guys are free, except of course for the books, but the books are, very cheap. Like the value like you get from the book is a lot more than what you invest to get that book, whatever the book. So you're gonna get actually 3 books suggestion that includes my book and then another masterclass for one of my friends. So a lot ahead of you, so you can learn, you can be ready. Even when you have already started your nonprofit, you will be ready, you will be more equipped. Keep learning, because this is one thing we have to keep doing until we leave this earth. Otherwise we will become irrelevant very soon. All right, this is Echoes of Impact, and this is your host, Noura Almasri. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Echoes of Impact, and this is your host, Noura Almasri. I am actually very excited today because I have a very special guest that I highly admire. And we actually have met in a very great place. I love, we were both volunteering for Amnesty International. We were part of a group in Chicago. And we worked on a lot of causes together. And so that's why, Linda, my friend, who's going to be talking to you in a minute, actually very, very special guest to me. So we speak a lot about taking care of our body, taking care of our environment, about how do we succeed in business and life, but we often forget our soul. And we always hear body, soul, mind, right? But often people don't talk about soul. And my friend Linda, she actually wrote a book and she's going to tell you about it. Help me welcome my friend Linda Wilks. Linda, welcome to the show. I'm very excited to have you here with me today.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you inviting me.
Of course, of course. So Linda is the author of a very special book. It's available on Amazon, Spiritual Phenomena and Walk-in Souls. So Linda, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself first, a little bit about your background and what motivated you to write this book before we tell them about the book more?
Okay, yes. Well, I'll give you a little bit about my background. I grew up being a Christian, and my family kept us in a Christian church. And so I always was an avid reader. I loved to read as a little kid. So I always studied Jesus, and I always read the Bible. I read it to my father. So every day I would read. I still read every day. So that gave me a basic foundation to build up off of. But as I grew older and older, I began to question specific philosophies or ideologies in the book. And I began to study other religious doctrines, and I began to study other spiritual practices. And I would always question certain things in the Bible, and I would ask those who were in charge of the children's school at the church, and they could never answer my questions. And so I would always wonder about that. But then over time, I would begin to get the answers. They would just come to me. I think some people call it channeled information. But as a kid, I was very spiritual. I was born into this third dimensional reality with innate abilities unlocked. That's the term I'll use. I was a dreamer, and I would dream prophetically, but I did not know that that is exactly what it was. But my father, he understood and he supported the idea. And when I was I would say 4, 5, and 6 years old, he would ask me every morning, what did I dream? And I would tell him. And sometimes it was so prophetic, he would call into other states and have me to tell my grandmother what I dreamed, or my uncles, or whoever. And I would just continue to play. And this dialogue regarding dreaming became just a commonplace. I would ask my father every day what he dreamed. He would tell me, and we would interpret each other's dreams. We had a very respectful dream dialogue every day. I believed that everyone had the tendency to foresee and had these abilities that were innately endowed in the human. But over time, I had to sort of shut it down a little bit because I would ask people, what did you dream? And people would look at me like I was, a nutcase. And so I stopped asking people, and I found out that people did not remember their dreams. And even if they did remember their dreams, they knew nothing of the legitimacy of them. They never interpreted them. They just took it off. Some thought it was a nightmare. They might have had a dream, but they never thought about it. And so I read every day of my life, as I still do. So I've always read the ologies, psychology, sociology, spirituality, colorology, numerology, astrology, astronomy. I've always read these things, and I've always embraced them. And I have no idea why. But that's been my love. And so I read every day, and I still do. I read every day. And so therefore, I questioned a lot of things. I was very inquisitive. And I think that was the motive behind me reading every day. And so over time, I just began to get serious downloads of information that I had no business knowing. I knew things about the planetary systems and all manners of things. And I would always ask my higher self, why do I need to know this? I don't see where it plays a role in my everyday living. But anyway, that's just one part of it. But over time, when I got a little bit older and older, I was diagnosed with a devastating disease, and it was MS. And I live in Illinois, of course, and I had the best. I worked for the government at the time. I had the best team of neurologists in Illinois. And over time, I had lost my ability to walk. And then I lost my ability to do anything for myself. Within the nervous systems, it was explained to me by the neurologist that my myelin sheath had been eroded. The myelin sheath is what connects this could be likened to the nerve endings, and they connect. The myelin sheath is the fatty tissue that keeps them connected. And then the impulses and informations can be sent through. But all of my myelin sheath had been eroded. And that meant that there was no signals being sent. But it was so terrible that I ended up not being able to do anything for myself. And I was always in and out of the hospital, and the doctors, they would give me to get me going just to be able to function at a decent level, not wholly. They would give me 500 milligrams every 8 hours of intravenous steroids.
Oh.
And those intravenous steroids over time threw me into what was called steroid-induced diabetes. So over time, but I denied this because I had read too many books, too many ancient texts that had told me that there were miraculous healings going on, all types of healings going on across the planet. And I was aware, it was in my consciousness. Plus I had spiritual background, faith, and belief. And so I utilized all of that. And over time, I ended up in the hospital at least the least was twice a month, the least. And so I didn't believe it. So I ended up in Illinois at a lot of hospitals getting retested by choice. University of Illinois, Christ Hospital, University of Chicago. I even went to Mayo Clinic out of the state. And they all told me the same thing, that I would never be able to walk again. And I was going to just, my body was just going to disintegrate, and that I had a limited time to live. So the last time that I was in that hospital, they told there was this Indian woman. She was from India. She was a female doctor, and she came to the end of my bed and she shook my foot. She says, "Linda, if you had not gotten to the hospital right away, you would have been dead in a day, maybe two." That was psychologically debilitating to me.
How long ago was that?
Pardon me?
How long ago did this happen?
Well, this started off in the late 90s, late 98, 90.
Wow.
98, 99. So this went on for years. And anyway, at the time, since I couldn't do anything for myself, and the doctors had pretty much given up on me, they said there was nothing else. They had to give me all the medication. They had to give me everything, all these neuropathic medicines. And they said, "There's nothing else we can do for you." And so I was like, well, what do I do? They said, "We're going to have you go into a nursing home." So there was a nursing home right here in Chicago, right outside Chicago, on Chicago Ridge. It was called, it was right there at 95th and Central. So I went in there, and the reason I had to go is because I had no one to live with me. My daughter was working every day, so she had to work. So I was there, and I just stayed there. But it got to the point that I couldn't even turn my body over in the bed. So I needed constant assistance and constant help. So there I was in the nursing home. And then one night I was there because I always believed that I was going to be whole. I just believed it. It was an innate belief. And so one night I was there. I was asleep, of course, laying on my back because I couldn't turn myself over. And a voice came to me, and an image came to me like the Grand Canyon. It was so huge. And the voice gave me orders and told me what to say and what to do. I was in such a weakened state, I could not even repeat what the voice was telling me to say, but I tried, and I said it on the inner realm, on the inner.
Yeah.
I like to obey the spiritual voice that comes.
It's much stronger when you say it from your inner self.
Absolutely, because every aspect of every cell in your body resonates with that.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
And when I said that, there was an occurrence there. There was a light body that came into my room. And I talk about it in the book. It was such an unusual happening. It was a very unusual happening. And I talk about how it entered my body in the book. And then I went into a deep, deep sleep. But when I awakened the next morning, I still cannot explain or articulate the situation. It was like I had a big light, a very bright light inside of my head, and my inner self could see it. And I could see the light moving. But anyway.
So you're talking about that in your book?
I talk about it in the book, yeah.
Awesome. So that was basically the motive that inspired you to write the book, to tell people about the story?
Well, that was not the motivant to write the book. The motivant came later on because this experience was so unusual, I couldn't speak to anyone about it. I couldn't tell anyone what had happened because they would really think I'm a mental case, right?
Yeah.
But over time, I have a friend, and his family. They're like family to me, and he knew what I had gone through, and I was able to explain to him what happened to me in the nursing home. But I want to step back to that nursing home event. When that happened, the next day or so, I was able to sit up on the bed on my own. Now,
Nice.
2 days prior, when they would turn me over in the bed, I
Uh-huh.
felt all of my organs, they would fall over also.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very trying situation. And for me to be able to sit up a couple of days later, and then the attendants there, they were astounded at how I was just, I guess, my well-being. And they had my family to bring me some sweatpants so that I
Mm-hmm.
could begin to practice how to put them on. I was doing so well, it was unbelievable to myself and everyone involved.
Nice.
Every day, the attendants would ask me this. They would come in, they would say, well, how you doing today, Linda? And I would say, now this was after that event that happened that night. And I would say, I'm doing fine. And I would say, how are you? And they would tell me something. And I would say,
Mm-hmm.
let me shine some light on it. I had never used that terminology. And
Yeah.
then I intuit their lives for them. They would go get other friends that worked there and other employees. They would come. They would ask me, and I would always say, let me shine light on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a transfer, but it was a transfer that really helped me become whole again. And the doctor, the friend of mine who he was very astute. He was a historian in
Mm-hmm.
African history. And he began to tell me one day, he says, Linda, I'm gonna tell you what happened to you in that nursing home. He said,
Mm-hmm.
you may not want to believe it, but you received what is called the walk-in soul. It has happened historically in Africa all the time. He
Oh.
said, and he broke it down to me. And then I still didn't want to accept that, but because that was, I never heard of anything like that. But over
No.
time, I
No.
accepted it. And I
So
believe,
also, yeah, so before we run out of time, I want to make sure like people know where to get your book and how can they get you to speak if someone wants to get a hold of you and get you as a speaker, because I know you do speaking engagements as well. So can you tell us where?
yes, they can contact me at Linda, Linda Wilks at sbcglobal.net.
Mm-hmm.
Linda Wilks at sbcglobal.net. And my book is on Amazon.
Okay. Awesome.
Spiritual, yeah,
Go ahead. Go
Spiritual
ahead.
Phenomena and Walking Souls.
Awesome. So, guys, you must go read that book, read the story that Linda told us a little bit about. It's a very interesting story. Make sure you got the information for Linda and you can email her to get her to speak to you at your event. This is Echoes of Impact with Noura. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Echoes of Impact with Noura, and this is your host, Noura Almasri. Now, I'm bringing back a very great friend of mine, and she is actually having a great event coming up. And I want you to make sure to listen up, especially if you are in a nonprofit. And even if you are not in nonprofit yourself, I'm sure you may know someone who is in nonprofit. So listen up, like watch carefully and get the information so you can register. She has an incredible opportunity and I'm gonna let her tell you about it. Help me welcome my friend Rozetta Williams. Rozetta, welcome back.
Thank you, Noura. Thank you for having me.
Of
Wow,
course.
yes. So, well,
Welcome
where
back
to
here.
thank you. So where to start? Well, as Noura said, my name is Rozetta Williams, and I sit in the founder and CEO seat at Right Touch Consulting. It is wow, we do all things to help nonprofits set the foundation, right? To build and create an impact in their in their organizations, in their communities. So I am just so excited to be coming today to talk a little bit more about a masterclass that I am hosting. As I mentioned, Right Touch Consulting is about helping nonprofits build the foundation And so what does that look like? In my brain, it starts with our board of directors, right? The ones that are creating and making the decisions. It starts at the top. And so it is, in my opinion, that's where we need to start to work to create the culture to help us build a legacy, right? So I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I could talk about this all day, but Board Basics and Beyond. It is a masterclass that I will be hosting May 9th at 2 o'clock Central Time, right? CST. Man, I am looking forward to just sharing all the things with you guys, the fundamentals of why you need a board. Why is the board important? What it is, some best practices, and really delve into some of the fiduciary responsibilities. With this, yeah, I could go on and on. I'm sorry, Noura.
Yeah, so let's
Take
do
a
that.
breath.
No, thank you for this. Go ahead, guys, and make sure you register. But I want to hear from you. In your opinion, what is one thing that a board member for a nonprofit must have in their character?
You know, here's the thing. I believe that, I believe it takes all types to create an amazing board. And I think that we need the person who is amazing at crunching the numbers, and we also need the person that is also the visionary. We need all types. And that is really what this is about. It's Board Basics and Beyond is really about how do you identify those types and get them on your board? How do you appeal to your community to want to jump in and help? And so even if you have an active board, great. How can you make that active board better? And if you have a not so active board, that's okay too. How can we go in and clean it up and get those on the board that want to be on the board in their passion, following and really standing and trusting in the mission that you all have? So, wow, I mean, I don't know. That's what I think it's all about.
This is very important because often people, like when they want to start an organization, what they do is find family member who can be with them so they can register the organization. I am guilty of that. I did it once. But the problem with that is you gotta be active yourself, because people who are with you, their family member, they're excited for you, they want to support you, but it takes more than one person to actually make the organization an organization that is active, that can actually create the impact, to have the foundation. And for me, for example, like I don't believe the board should be so involved with the operation unless a board member is an executive director, but they should have the character to understand. They have to support, and they know when to jump in and when to stay quiet, and when to give authority, and when to just hold off because they don't want to be that actually barrier between the organization and the success of the organization.
So, Noura, let me just jump in right there. When we started, when a lot of us started our organizations right there at our mama's kitchen, right at our mama's kitchen, we had that great idea. We were talking about, we seen the gap. We seen, oh man, we can do something. I have the skills to do it. And so in that, we get those around us that jump on and they want to help, and we appreciate that. However, it also sometimes makes us stagnant in being able to reach the goals that we envisioned, right? When we were thinking about this, we didn't think that we would be struggling and going grant to grant, and how we keeping the lights on and our program started and stopped. No. And so we think that as the executive director, that we're supposed to, what more can I do? I got to get in there and I got to do some more, and I got to do this and I got to do that. And I'm here to say, maybe not. How about now? How about we create a board and we create a culture and we create an opportunity for our community to come together and we can build something from the top that is not necessarily you as the executive directors. You know, out here we'd say Kuliana, it's not your responsibility. You can't do both things. You can't be on the board successfully and do all the things that you need to do and be the executive director successfully and do all the things you need to do. There needs to be a separation, and there needs to be an understanding that the board has a place. And in that place, it has a real, it has a responsibility to show up for the organization in a different way. So, but we're going to talk about that in the Board Basics and Beyond Masterclass, y'all. You see, I get pumped and fired up about it.
That's awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for everyone who's going to join. So tell me how people can know like this is perfect for them and they must join. Like how should they know like, okay, this is the perfect class for them, and what will they go out after the master class armed with?
Okay, so how do you know it's perfect for you? You are a new or existing nonprofit, but you're not seeing the profits and you're not seeing the grants come in. You're not seeing the impact that you'd like to make. You are maybe just starting a nonprofit, thinking about it. So you really are like, oh, maybe is this what I want to do? And if this is what I want to do, how do I build the foundation right the first time, right? A friend of mine once said that the easiest way to, the easiest part of building a house is the foundation. And the hardest part of building a house is the foundation. So let's really build the foundation, right? So if you want to, I'm sorry, I got all confused because I got excited. That's the thing that happened. So let me just take myself back. And here's the thing. When you come to the event, I'm giving you the tools to walk away in the first 90 days knowing, hey, maybe I can. Governance might not be that difficult. Policies and procedures may not be that hard to implement. Hey, maybe we do need an application. I'm giving you some things to think about. I just want to plant a few seeds and let you do the things that you let it grow if it's supposed to grow. Also, I am, what was the other part of the question, Noura?
Where should people go actually to register for that?
Okay. So there's two places to register. You can go to the Eventbrite, and that's a QR code there and take you right there to register. You can also register at www.righttouchconsulting.com. Yeah, it's right on the website. It'll give you all the information. So, man, I look forward to seeing you all there.
That's awesome. And it's virtual, so people can attend from anywhere around the world. Yay! Because no matter where you are, you need a nonprofit board. So you can attend at any time, just be available there. So I'm really excited. I'm very excited for everyone who's going to join Rozetta. She is great. She has been actually an executive director herself. She's been working with nonprofit for a long, long time. Thank you so much, Rozetta. It was my pleasure having you here back in on my show. This is Echoes of Impact with Noura. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Echoes of Impact, and this is your host, Noura Almasri. Now we're done from tax season. No taxes anymore, except for you guys on nonprofit and those of you who made an extension. But for us tax professionals and for business owners who actually already did their taxes, we're transitioning to another phase. And we have here a great guest that you've watched before. And if you did not yet watch the first episode she was in, after this, go ahead and find that episode and watch what she said. I want to welcome back my friend, Shane Harris. Shane, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
Of course. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And you are a very amazing friend and very amazing tax professional. I know your clients happy to work with you always. So Can you also actually talk to us about, like, as tax professional, how are you transitioning, and what's your advice for those business owners now? Like, what they should they do now we finished from tax season?
Yes, I know you guys love to talk about taxes, right? But probably not. But yes, now that we wrapped up tax season, at least for the ones who filed on time, if you didn't file on time and you filed the extension, you still have time to file, obviously. But what happens when we have finished the season and you're a business owner and you transition? So some of the things that I know I talk about on my YouTube channel and with my clientele is what you do next. So you start planning for next year, essentially. So oftentimes a lot of business owners, you think once you finish taxes, you're like, whoa, I passed my test. I don't have to worry about this anymore. Let's move on. Well, that's not necessarily the case. You should always be planning for the next steps. But one of the things that I know I speak about a lot is how exactly are you planning? So we talk about, we'll do like analysis of our tax returns. We look at the tax returns to see how well did you do that year? Maybe you didn't do so well. Look at your budget again to see where you can start allocating funds or maybe cutting expenses back. Start talking about what are you trying to do with your business moving forward? Are you wanting to expand? Are you wanting to hire people? Do you need more educational assistance by going back to take a course or something like that? I know for my particular business, because I have Profit First Taxes, my tax and accounting business, and then I have Self Before Abundance, which is my coaching business where I transition from tax season into coaching is where I'm helping entrepreneurs like yourself to really make that transition smoothly. So now that we finish with tax season, now we have to start working on a different type of mindset. So we start talking about mindset, perspective on shifting your perspective on the things that you might have thought you were doing before, or some of the things that you were raised, how you were raised, maybe not doesn't work so well in your business, because like I like to say, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So we talk about lots of life skills and how we transition that or translate that into your business to make your business function and profitable.
Yeah, this is very important. Mindset is everything. And once we, like you said, once the way we do something, the way we do everything. And this is very true. And actually, as business owners, this comes sometimes to our surprise, because we think our personal life, our attitude toward things is not going to affect our business, but to our surprise, yeah, everything is connected somehow. And until we face it, we do not recognize it. So it's very important to have that awareness. And I love that you're always doing videos to educate people about it. And also, you have wrote a book about it that's called The Emotion Behind Wealth, the Impact of Unhealthy Attachment Style on Business Success. And I love that you wrote about this, because this is often get neglected and people don't really pay attention. Like the attention always about like, put the budget, do that. And then they remove the human aspect of it, and without a human aspect, nothing gonna get done. So can you actually tell us a little bit about that, and your opinion, like a little sneak peek about your book?
Okay, sure. So my book, as Nora mentioned, is called The Emotions Behind Wealth, The Impact of Unhealthy Attachment Styles on Business Success. And why did I even write such a book to begin with? Well, when we talk about attachment styles, we're often referring to it in terms of romantic relationships and maybe even friendships, but no one thinks to talk about it in terms of how to run a business, or even if you don't have a business yet, but how it relates to work. So that's where this book comes in, is to bring that together, because again, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you have some unhealthy attachment styles, like um it's like the avoidant type of attachment style, or disorganized attachment style, or anxious, any one of those in your personal life, you're going to likely have the same type of attachment styles when it comes to dealing with other clients in your business and work. So this book really highlights, by putting all of those things together, to show you the pros and cons of your attachment style, even if it's a negative. It's usually have a negative connotation. Of course, when we hear unhealthy, we're like, oh my gosh, you need therapy, you need to fix that. Yes, that is one aspect of thing, but I've also highlighted in the book, yes, you can move to a more secure attachment style. However, because you're anxious or avoidant or disorganized, it doesn't mean it doesn't come with some superpowers. You've learned to utilize your own unique attachment style to make life work for you, it can also help you when it comes to your business. So an example of that will be like someone who is more avoidant. They're the ones who is usually more analytical and tend to be more focused and driven, career focused. So if you are that type of attachment style, you might not be a people person, but you might be focused on driven on growing your business. Versus if you are an anxious attachment style, you might be more sensitive to people's needs and wants. And you can use that as a superpower to really connect with your clientele and help your business grow. Now, on the downside of that, you might be a little bit more sensitive to criticisms and things like that. But in my book talks about ways on how you can merge the two as you are working towards a more secure attachment style.
That is great because it's must actually to know your strength and how can you deal with yourself, because you want to be kind to yourself first in order to accelerate in your business and in your life. So how can people actually get your book and how can get in touch with you to work with you now the tax season is done?
Yeah, absolutely. So to get in contact with me, I have one link where you can get the best of both worlds. You can get my tax and accounting assistance if you still need assistance with that. And of course, if you need more coaching, you have you can get that link as well. And if you want that copy of my book, it's right there where it says grab a copy. So to get that is sociotap.com/SD negotiator. And that is sociotap as I always forget, sociiatap.com/SD negotiator. And SD negotiator is all of my social media handles like TikTok, IG, Facebook, all of the most popular ones that we tend to use. You can find me there. So you click that link and you can find resources if you're needing assistance with coaching, if you still want assistance with tax and accounting, or if you have a combination of them both, you can click that link and you can get that there. And also the copy of my book and any upcoming masterclasses that I'm going to be launching within the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shane. So guys, go ahead and get in touch with Shane and actually get her book, read it, so you can get the knowledge and you can be informed and educated business owners to be kind to yourself and actually accelerate at your business. Thank you so much, Shane, for being here. And until next time, keep making an impact. This is your host, Noura Almasri, and keep making an impact.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation.